Somebody once asked me, okay, how much charity you want to give? So I'm thinking of a number. Yeah, I want to give it to be this much. Then that means I have to make that much, right? You have a goal to give a certain amount to charity. It's so nice. Most people doing it the other way. They say, oh, I made this money, so let me take this off. Okay, but I have a goal. I want to reach. I want to give away this much charity.
Welcome to Ordinary People with Extraordinary Stories. I'm Chana Weisberg, host of this podcast. Joining me today, we have a fabulous guest. Her name is Naomi Streicher. Naomi Streicher is the broker of Q Home Sales in the whole Hudson Valley area. And she's anywhere you go driving, you'll see her sign with her name very often. She's a broker for many, many agents. She is fabulously successful. And I wanted to hear from her how it is that she balances it all, being a religious Jewish woman, a mother, a career woman, and everything else that she does. Welcome, Naomi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you so much. It's nice to see you again.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that you're also a neighbor of mine. So,
True.
yeah, right down the block. So, Naomi, tell us a little about first, let's start with your background, because I know you have an interesting background in terms of your childhood.
Okay, so I grew up in Muncie, went to Yeshiva Spring Valley, and then went to Beis Yaakov like everyone else. I'm the oldest of 13 kids, so that's
Wow.
pretty big. Yes, so managing and juggling time has always been in my day. And talking about balance, I don't know how anybody balances, but we're just always juggling and trying to balance, and it's always a process. But there's no such thing
Right.
as a real balance that I know of.
Right. It's a hard thing to do. I know your mother passed away when you were young. Can you tell us a little about that?
I was 16 years old at the time, and it was pretty quick. It was in high school, and then it just automatically went from being the oldest kid to the person who took care of everybody in the house.
Right. And how did
Shopping.
that feel?
I'll tell you the truth, it's a long time ago. I don't remember. We just did it.
Right.
There was no therapy. We just did it. There was no such thing as not coping. You did what you had to do, and that's it.
So what's so unusual when I look at you and your family, because I know your sister who also lived on my block, you're all very successful individuals. You all are motivated. The victim mentality never hit you. And I'm wondering why that was. Why didn't you feel yourself as a victim?
No, first of all, this is that. I think that's a more of a 1990 or 2000 degree. Is it like disease or something? That's not something that existed in the 1980s. 1980s,
Okay.
you did what you had to do. So we didn't have that. And there were also some very nice people in the community who helped us. There was a really nice lady. Her name was Rebbetzin Goldworm. She used to come to our house and make supper. There were just nice people out there.
Mhm,
She's not around anymore, but I just want to tell you, like, there were just regular people who just called help.
mhm.
It wasn't like you had to get therapy. We just did what we had to do.
And
And
how old was your youngest sibling? You were
she was a
16, you said?
baby. Yeah, she was a
She was
baby. Yeah, she was.
wow.
Yeah,
And all the responsibility fell on your shoulders?
yeah. And then it just. But I always had responsibilities before. It wasn't like new. You know,
Mhm.
I had to bake the challahs. The other one had. Everybody had different things that they had to do. Those was their jobs. We had chores. We didn't have cleaning ladies. We just did
Right.
everything.
Right.
So that's
And
how we
how
did it.
and how
And
did you feel the void, the emotional void, the
I don't even know. I don't know if I had emotions. I don't know. I don't really know. You're asking the wrong person. You have to ask somebody else who knows me to tell you what happened there. I don't know. But I can tell you
right.
that we were very, very busy kids. And we didn't have a computer. We didn't have phones. We were very, very busy.
Wow, 13 children, I can imagine. Do you think that that was what helped you to learn how to juggle in life, all the many things that you do?
Probably, but it wasn't 13 kids at the time. There were eight. So, and
There were
then
8.
just then my father remarried and
Oh, I
had
see.
more children.
Okay.
But that yeah, but no, it's I don't know. I went to Beis Yaakov. There were 14 Hebrew subjects. There were English subjects. We had to study. We had finals. We had to memorize. We had to do stuff. It was not like there were no easy tracks. You had to just do it. So that's what it is. You either I remember in ninth grade we memorized. I don't know how to say it in English. The whole Parshas Lech Lecha. And how to say that in
Right.
English. It's a section in the Torah that we had to memorize it, all that and all the commentary. And we did it. It was a ninth grade. We had to write down everything we knew. It was a 6-hour test. And it was basically
Wow.
pure memorization, and we did it.
Right.
So you just when you're taught at an early age, you have to do what you have to do, and there's not you have a choice to back out. We didn't have those choices. You had to go and do it. And there was no
And
such
I
thing as quitting. We didn't quit.
I think you take that into your life with you, because I know when you're asked anything, you usually say yes. Hosting, tens of people in your home or cooking for a lot of people, you usually just say yes, even though you are so busy with so many other things that you're tackling at the same time.
Well, they say if you want to get something done, you go to a busy person.
Busy person, right?
Yeah,
Right.
so it's also time management. Okay, you have to learn how to manage the time, and I'm very, very careful. I'm becoming better and better with the calendar. I really, really run. I'm not. I'm running my day. I'm not having the day run me.
That's important. And
Yeah.
how do you do that? How do you do that?
We write it down. I get up early, and I
What time
just
do you wake up every morning?
well, you could look out your window at 5:20. I get up.
I'm not up at that time.
I go to the gym. I come back, get the kids off to now it's to school, and then get to work. I want to be in the office at 8. I think I'm gonna get so much more done in that 1 hour before 9 o'clock because I'm not gonna get disturbed until everybody finds out that I'm there at 8, but I'll try to keep it a secret.
So, you're a very structured person?
I'm not I don't consider myself a structured person. I had to make myself structured. I had to work on that.
Mm.
But
So
yeah,
give us some tips for people who are listening who are trying to juggle their day to
yeah.
day.
Okay, you have to write it down. You have to plan it the day before. Don't just start saying, "Oh, what am I gonna do today? Then I'm gonna do it." I know, and I also have theme days. So I'm in real estate. So on Monday, I'm going to call VIPs. I'll call my sisters. I'll call people that are important to me.
Mm,
Tuesdays, I do my update calls. So Wednesdays are hot or cold leads. I have my system. So
mm,
that's how I know that, okay, I have to get those calls done. So I do a lot of calls. I do over 100 calls a week. So that's
mhm.
that's important to me. And then I have to meet people. I have to meet my so I know I have my things written down what I have to do. It's metrics. Okay. I have to meet 15 people a week. I have to do certain things. I have to write thank you cards. These are all in my
To-do list,
yeah, and I
your
do it.
calendar.
And how do
Mhm,
you get it all done? First of all, I don't do it all myself. I do have help. All right. I have someone
mhm,
who cleans my house. I'm
mhm,
not going to clean my house when I could be making phone calls, which I like to do. I like
mhm.
to do my work. I don't want to do that other work. I've cleaned my whole life and I don't have to clean now. So
Right,
that's it is.
sure.
I always say delegate something that you can delegate. Now, someone just asked me to make a list of all the things that I want to delegate. You know what I really want to delegate? I want to delegate my exercise.
Right.
It's 2 hours. I'm like, that's one thing that would really free up a lot of time, but obviously, that's not something we can delegate. So,
That's amazing that you do it on a regular basis. Wow, I have to learn
yeah,
from that. Yeah, that's great.
well,
Uh, what about your children? Like, I know that you're a very devoted mother, and motherhood comes first in your life and in your schedule. So, how do you manage to do it all with your busy schedule in real estate?
I don't know if you remember or maybe I didn't I always brought along a kid with me. When I
Ah,
would show houses, those kids came with me, and when I would the kids know, even now, I have the bigger ones, they know, "You wanna come to the office." I have my daughter, the 18-year-old, she's in the office. They're always hanging around with me. So, they watch how I work, they watch how we work. Now, I'm not saying that I'm perfect. I have kids who say, the youngest one, like, "Oh, you're on the phone too much."
right,
It's true, but that's what I do. But,
right.
so I try to when I'm with the youngest kid, I turn off the phone or just won't answer it. Or I'll tell
Mhm.
the person to listen, I'm picking up my kid from wherever, camp, school. So I try. It's not like it's perfect at all. If you ask my kids,
Right,
they'll tell you.
right. But the home and the motherhood plays, I guess, an important role.
No, but I
You
work with
never
the kids work with me, I'll work with them. My daughter has a shoe store, Lace Shoe right in Wesley Hills, and she's very, very busy. Right now, it's a busy season. So I went and I straightened out her warehouse part. I don't mind. I'm good at organizing.
mm,
So I'll
wow,
organize it and she does a lot of online orders. So she's very, very busy now. So I'll help out and we all help each other. That's the right way to do it. It's not like
right,
no,
100%.
this is what it is a saying. I really should make a sign in my office. There's no such thing that is not my job. And it comes even to houses. I just do it. It's something pipe is leaking. I'll call a plumber. So you have to get it done. That's what it is. Don't try, you could delegate it, but it has to get done.
You're telling us so many important lessons in service of God and avodas Hashem and working in spirituality, that you just do it. Do whatever it needs to be done. You just do it. Don't think it's beneath you. It needs to get done. And be in order of your day. Have an order of your day. Have a schedule.
It's
These are
true.
great lessons. Yeah.
No, but even when it comes to my work, I don't, obviously I don't work on Shabbos, and people know it. And so every now and then I'll come across one, "Oh, what are you gonna do on a Saturday?" I said, "Listen, no house gets sold on Saturday. I sell tons of houses and none of them get sold on a Saturday, so it's fine. It works out."
Was that hard for you in the beginning
Never.
when you
And I
got
have
into it?
people who work for me who are not Jewish who work for me, and they say, "I'm so jealous that you have Shabbos." And
Really?
yeah, they love it. And one of them, she said, I'm starting to like this because in the beginning she thought that she has to work on Shabbos." I said, "No, you're in my office. You don't need to work on a Shabbos. It's fine." And she says, "I really like this." She says, I told the person it's my day off." So
Wow.
yeah, and it's really good to just turn it off. You need to rejuvenate once a week. It's a very hard. This is a
100%.
stressful business, and even in the house, it's stressful. So here you have that one day that you could spend
Right.
with the kids, read books out loud. It's nice.
You mentioned it's stressful, which it must be very stressful. What do you do, like, in terms of stress? What kind of Jewish teachings or, ideas that come to mind that help you with stress?
So I am pretty I'm not the person who gets so stressed out. If I get
Mhm.
stressed out, then I just turn it off. I'm not, but as far as what type of things do I like to do? I mean, you know, um, Hannah Zeilengold makes these on Shabbos. She does these mini shiurim. You do some things, and when I'll come to you, these are
Right.
all good ideas. I love what you do. You know how to look at something and something that's something ordinary and turn it into something great. So and you know how to do that really well, and you put it into words. I love listening to those type of things, and I read a lot. I'll try to read it, and I also I try to read about the Parsha every week. I try to do these things because it's good, and they're all good stuff.
I know you're somebody who has a lot of people underneath you. You manage a lot of people, you have a lot of agents that you are their broker. So I wanna know, like, when it comes to competition, how do you deal with competition in your work?
Okay, so I'm not looking at things of competing. If I go into an appointment and people are comparing me to someone else and choosing who they want to take, yeah, I'll be competitive. And but I'm fine. But as far as there's enough business for everyone. I really, there's room for everyone, and I don't find that I have competition that I have to. Oh my gosh, I'm losing this. I didn't lose it. I didn't have it. And when
Mm.
someone in my office comes and tells me, "Oh, I lost this," I said, "What'd you lose?" And they tell me like, "You didn't lose it. You never had it. On to the next."
So why is that? You see your livelihood as coming from God? Like, how do you have that
Absolutely.
how
I
do you have that perspective? Like, how do you bring it into your
I
day to day?
I get presents every day, and I actually have them right here on my desk. I have these are it might come out backwards, but these are my thank you notes. I write these gratitude notes for people. Um, we thank everybody. I have a big thing in my office that every time you do a transaction or something, I want thank you notes sent out to everybody as part of the
Mm.
transaction. Nobody does that, but I can tell you everyone likes it. No, who doesn't like a
Mm.
thank you note? And it helps you put in perspective, like here, I'm in the middle of writing one now to someone. I just listed a house in Chestnut Ridge. I called a friend of mine over there. She sent my number to someone else, and then someone's calling me to come see the house. So I'm sending her a thank you, and she's going to get a little gift in there. It's fine. It's all just little things that helps you be thankful, and everything does come. It's all presents. It's not because, yeah, I'll put in the work. I'll put in the effort. I'll put in the time, and then it just comes. It
It
works.
comes it comes
Yes.
from it
Yeah,
from God.
it comes from God. Everything is like all it's not from it's what we put in the effort though. It's not if you can't just sit down and say, "Okay, I'm gonna wait for it to come." But
Mhm.
and then we thank God every time. It's like great because now we have people, okay, which presents did you get this week? And
Right.
people can say, I got this present.
So
Yeah.
life is full of presents. That's how you
Tons.
that's how you that's how you
Yeah,
view it. And that
absolutely.
and is
All
that how you
presents.
deal? Is that how you deal with the stress when it feels so stressful? Like you feel
I don't really I'm telling you, I might for something that's stressful for other people, for me, it's not. I'm doing this 37 years. I've been
Mhm.
there. I've done so many things. I've seen these stories just with different names. It's very unusual that I'll have a story that hasn't happened before. So we have a lot of experience. The
Right.
experience helps. If you're
Right.
brand new, yes, it could be stressful because you're learning a new language, a new business. This is not new to me. So, but each thing I do learn new things, but I'm not
Mhm.
I'm not gonna tell you I get stressed out. The time I get
Mhm.
stressed out is when I'm on the phone for too many hours. If I started early and then the phone's still ringing too late, I just that's it. I don't wanna talk about real estate after a certain time,
Right. Right. You
but
have your
it's all good. It all works out, and usually a lot of the real estate people I work with are my friends too.
uh-huh.
So it's fine.
Right. I know that there's, a big thing about you is that you always like to learn more. You're into mentors and coaches. You always feel you could learn from people. Can you tell us a little about that? Because I think
100%.
that's such an important, like, Jewish concept that always, "Knei lecha chaver, aseh lecha rav,"
Right.
acquire a rabbi, acquire a teacher, acquire a friend. Tell us a little
It
about
also
that.
says you should pick your neighbors.
You should pick your neighbors.
Yes, you
That's what
should
we
have
have
good
you.
neighbors. You should have good neighbors. But,
Right.
okay, so I believe in mentors. Yes, absolutely. I've had a lot of mentors in my life. Now, I belong to a coaching organization, so I have a current coach now who's in Texas.
Mm,
And what I do is I went to his office to see how he operates. And then I took a lot of notes and I came back and I sat down with my team and I said, okay, where can we change? Where can we improve? And I went through all my notes and they said, hey, yeah, we could do this. We could implement that. So I'm always trying to fix things, even if it's not so broken, but let's try to make it better. If we make something better, and that's everything. It's even with even with the learning thing that we do like on Shabbos, let's try to make it better. So what happened was I started reading things before. So I started becoming a little bit more prepared. So at least I know a little bit more. So I'm a little step ahead. And these are the things that we do for our kids. I have a
right,
tutor I hire for my son. He's teaching him to be so he'll be ahead in the class. He's teaching him the stuff. So when he goes into school to learn the Gemara or whatever they're learning, he should have at least a little bit of step up. So this way he could be learn it better. Because when he learns the second time, it's obviously a lot easier and better, and it gets even though it gets harder. But we try to be
right,
ahead. Yeah, we want to be
right,
ahead, be more educated, and want to be more knowledgeable, and also makes more fun because then you can learn even more. Because if you hearing something for the first time, it's one thing. Hear it for the second
right,
time, then you learn something else. So
right, that's so true. Wow.
right.
How did you get into real estate to the begin with? Like, what made you go into it?
It's a story. I was driving on Route 45 and I heard an ad on the radio for Century 21, and I was at the stoplight and I wrote down the number because we didn't have cell phones in those days. And then I called when I got home and they said, "Do you have a license?" I said, "No." So I went and got my license. It's not hard. And then from there, I worked. That's how it went. It's from an ad.
From an ad, wow.
Yeah, yeah,
And do you see that you bring, like, your Jewish values into your workplace?
100%. There's no the language in my office. If somebody want, we have a really good environment. We don't have no bad language. We have everyone's dressing properly. I mean, I have all different types of people in my office, but there is something to coming to work and not dressing right. It's just not. We're in a professional place. It's got to just look like you're out to work, not like you're out going to the beach. So
Right,
yeah, so
right,
we have these, and it's if somebody doesn't know if somebody doesn't know that, it's to me it's common sense. You come to work how you should be, ready to work. If somebody calls and you need to go show a house, you should be dressed to show that house. You shouldn't be dressed in a way that you wouldn't want to be showing the house. So
mhm,
so I do tell the people because in the beginning when I first started many years ago, we didn't have this problem, but lately people some people were coming in I don't know, flip-flops and just not dressed to show a house. I'm like, you're going to new construction, you have to wear real shoes. You could
right,
step on a nail,
right,
so you have to be prepared. So actually in the winter I always have boots in my car for if it's muddy, but But that's really, people have to, in the workplace, we have a very nice environment, and it's important to me, and I think everybody else likes it that way. It makes a much more attractive place to work.
Mhm. Wow. And what about when you're I know were telling me a story of how you brought Yiddishkeit, how you brought Judaism to people that you've met. You
Oh,
brought that.
so yeah, I
Tell us
had
a
a
little about that.
realistic. Okay, this is something. It was not something. This is not. I know real estate. I don't know how to. I just have to be me. So I had a real estate coach who happened to be Jewish, but not a religious person, from another part of upstate New York, really upstate, far, like in Rochester. And he really didn't know much. But every time I talked to him, I said, you really sound like you're a religious person. You just don't know what it is. And anyway, it turned out that later on, his son was looking to get married, and it was just the whole thing started. It took. He suddenly one day he tells me, I have a chavrusa, I have a learning partner. And
Mm.
then, oh, yeah, and I'm learning this. I'm like, and before you know it, he's putting on tefillin, and they made aliyah. They live in Israel now. And their
Wow.
son who got married has they have I think they have 5 children. They also became religious, and he said his first example was meeting me, and I'm like, I'm not really a great example because I'm just I'm not the spiritual person I'm not like that. But he said just seeing the example, what he saw from me, he said, "Okay, you could be a normal person," what he thought was normal. Okay. And, and still be religious at the same time, and he loves it. He actually when he went to Israel first, he actually tried out. I'm trying to think which yeshiva. It was someplace in Mea Shearim. He went into the dorm. He said he wanted to feel like a kid in yeshiva. He went there for 3 weeks just to get the experience. So, which
Wow.
is really, he wanted to experience it, which is nice. He was in his 50s, but he went and did it. But anyway, they're doing good. They're doing good, and he does his real estate coaching. It's all, today everything could be on Zoom and a lot, so it works out really well. He can live anywhere. So he's doing
Hmm.
what he loves. He's doing the coaching, and he learns.
Wow.
Yeah.
And why do you think he was so inspired by you?
I don't know. You'd have to ask him because I'm not an inspirational person, but I'll give you, I met him. He was giving a seminar about a product, a real estate product. So I went over to him. I said, "How do you know this product? Like, do you use it?" He says, "No, I'm actually just a professional speaker." So I said, "But you're talking like you know it." He said, "Well, that's what I do. I'm
Mm.
professionally. I could talk about anything as if I know it." So that was impressive, and that's when I hired him to be my coach. And at that time, it was good. So that's how I met him. So he
Right.
always was a learner type.
Hmm. Do you think as a Jewish woman, like, you make an impact on people through what you do by just seeing you?
I don't know, but
Do you think
it's
someone could? Not you. Let's say someone,
oh.
because I know you're very humble.
Ah, I don't know if anybody wants to be like me, but they definitely could see that you could have a nice life. You could have, you could do a lot of things, and you could do it the right way. There's nothing, and we pay our taxes. We do everything
Mm,
like any normal person would do, and you could be have a family, and it's really good. Like we also do. We did a trip with the all the kids and the grandkids. It was nice. We all went together. It's a people. These are good things that come out of having a family, which is really nice. So yeah, people could be inspired by that and say, "Hey, I wanna do those trips too." So,
right. Wow. Wow. How do you deal with the diversity in your office of all the different kinds of people, and what do they feel about your Judaism and the way that you keep it?
oh, well, we always have these arguments with some people, not real arguments, like, we have this, back and forth debates. I have some people they have different outlooks on life, and some people believe in one way, but it's okay, it's how you're brought up. I was brought up one way, they were brought up another way, and then we form our own opinions, but it's not like it's everyone's wrong, everyone has their own way. There are people in the world to support all their children, which is really nice. It's very hard, though, when you have a lot of children to support all of them. I'm a little bit different type of belief. I believe in teaching the kids how to make a living on their own. Now, being Jewish, religious is really expensive.
Mm,
I mean, just going to the stores, the price of meat, everything is expensive. So we do have to make more money. And the tuitions, all these things are expensive. But on the other hand, is um, somehow we're able to do it. We're blessed with I don't know, somehow it just works out. We put in the effort, it comes, but the that's why I believe in teaching the kids a business rather than I know the college thing is great. I have one daughter who went to college, but I can tell you she makes the least amount of money from everyone in the family, but she's really happy. She's married to a rabbi. She lives in Chicago. They have a good life, but they don't need as much as some of us. We became very spoiled.
Mm.
We really did. So, and we got used to things. So, what happens is when we get used to the things that we have, and then our children see that, then they want it too.
How do you teach your children the value of money?
Um, okay, that's a little bit more complicated question. Because I'm not so good at it. Some kids are, every kid is different. I have some kids who understand money better than others. The real way to teach kids how they have to start making their own money.
Mhm.
They have to
Mhm.
make their own money, see how hard it is to make it, and then they have to be taught they have to save. Big believer in saving. You got to put away 20%. Doesn't matter. You got to give to tzedakah. You got the charity. You got to do that. You have to be balanced with that. That's for sure. But as soon as they start making their own money, they realize how hard it is.
Mhm.
Not even making just starting to work. The Some people I start with new people all the time. They don't even know how to make a phone call. Today they're texting. They
Right.
can't use a phone. And you need to know how to speak on the phone. I believe in my business anyway, you need to know how to talk.
Can you give us some tips? How do you talk on the phone?
Oh, okay. You want to do a role play?
No, so many people aren't talking on the phone. I'm wondering, like, if you can if
Oh,
what does
well,
it
when it
mean that
comes
you
to
need to
business, I can give somebody a script. I have a script for all kinds of
really?
yeah, but my scripts are my own already. Like I can do a script
Right,
any time. But if whatever the person is doing, they should pick up the phone. They're sending out thank you texts. Pick up the phone and say thank you.
right,
Or whatever it is. Sometimes a text message doesn't even sound like what you really meant it to sound like. Somebody can get insulted. Just pick up the phone. That's all it is. Picking up the phone makes a whole difference. And
most people nowadays don't pick up the phone, they
maybe
text.
they should put it in their schedule to make 10 phone calls today to say thank you to those people who helped them or whatever made an impact on that day. They have to learn how to
Really?
talk. Yes, I started my daughter now training to speak on the phone. It's like training. Um, because I gave her a list of people that I know that she should follow up with, and she's
Right,
making the calls, and in the beginning, it's a little bit hard in the beginning, but now she's doing it already for a few days, and she's getting more used to it, and she's getting it's getting down pat. And the first person she called was a past client who bought for me a few houses, and he had said, like, "I don't know why I'm on your list." I'm like, he didn't. So I called him up. I said, "I thank you very much for not giving my daughter such a hard time because you were her first phone call." He says, "Oh, okay, no problem." So,
Wow,
yeah,
wow, that's interesting.
yeah, they should call people that they know first before they start calling strangers.
Mm. You mentioned before it's charity. Tell
Yeah.
us, what your charity ethic is.
Okay, so it's in it. Someone, if someone once asked me, okay, how much charity you want to give? So I'm thinking of a number. Yeah, I want to give it be this much. Then that means I have to make that much, right? So if you have a
Mm.
goal for how much charity you want to give, that would
Oh, is
be
that how
really
you
nice.
do it? Is
Yeah,
that how you work it? And
isn't
does it
that
work
like
out?
it's so much easier. You have
That's
a
very
goal to
interesting.
give a certain amount to charity. It's so nice. Most people doing it the other way. They say, "Oh, I made this money, so let me take this off." Okay, but I have a goal.
Right.
I want to reach. I want to give away this much charity. So
That's beautiful.
yeah, so you do it like that. That's also helpful. And then there's all these different programs. We have the I don't know. My husband has these checks that he gets like pre-made tzedakah checks. You know what I'm talking about? I don't usually handle that part. He takes care of that, and then he'll give out those. But there's all different also tax benefits. Tax if you speak to your accountant, there's things that you could do. That's also good so you can track the charity that you give. And also there's other types of charity besides just money. There's a charity or maybe it's just doing good. But we're going to be doing an office outing. We're going to go to I told I told my administrator to make an appointment with Tomchei Shabbos. That's an
Those are
organization to pack the bags. It's great. We did it.
they
We've
pack the
done it.
bags for people who can't afford to make a Shabbos, that they
Well,
give out
yeah, they
food
give
for
out
them.
food every week, but now before Rosh Hashanah, before the holidays, they give out other things. I remember, I don't know if it was last year or the year before, but we were packing. fruits. They give everybody a pomegranate. They were giving we had to do peppers in the bags. I never realized how hard it is to pack so many bags of 3 peppers or whatever. We did it, and it was fun. You know what? We went as a group,
Mhm.
and we just took all those boxes and we're putting them into bags.
Right.
But it's good to give back that way also. So we're doing, and that's also, by the way, it doesn't cost any money, and
Mm.
it's very good for team building.
Mm.
It's good for offices to do that. It was an idea that someone gave me, and we do it. So we usually do it right before Rosh Hashanah. So
Mhm.
those other types of charity to help a charity do things.
Right. So tzedakah and charity is a big part of your life?
I think so, and then I'm also, yeah, it is. And then there's other. I just spoke to my accountant. There are I have to first learn more about. I can't really exactly describe it. It's something called the DAF. It's like a donor. It's some kind of a fund that you put your money into that, and then it's already, so for tax purposes, your money is already given at that time into this donor fund, and then you can give from there, which is also good. So tax wise, it's also good for people for their tax returns. That's another thing. People should have their appointments with their accountants at least twice a year, minimum, because you can see what you could do to save taxes. Now, if you're saving taxes and you have more money, then you have more money to give away and more
Mm.
money to do good things with it. So
Mhm.
that's very important. A lot of people don't manage their money properly, or they don't know how, because that's one thing they don't teach us in school.
Right.
They don't
That's
teach
true.
us these things.
But I think that that's, like, a great idea to think about how much you wanna give to charity and then just
Yeah,
multiply that amount because, let's say you take 10 or 20% off that you this is the amount that you wanna give to charity, then you have to earn,
right.
that 10 times that amount or
Exactly.
right? Or 5
Yeah.
times that amount.
So take a big
So,
number.
take a big number. Did it always
Yes.
work? Do you always do that?
I always take a big number. Do I reach that number all the time? Not always. But
But you try.
I
But you
make a
try
bigger
for
number. I make a bigger number than the year before. Yeah, you take a number.
that's
So,
incredible.
and there's all
Wow.
different kinds of charities. I'm telling you, there's different things that people could do. There's so
Right,
many things. It's
right. If you don't have money, you could always help with other things and,
right.
be involved in and you're saying that that helps in offices as well, like your office did that, and it
Yes.
helped in the community feeling and building up the
Mhm.
relationship between each other.
Right.
Interesting. Wow.
So,
Um, what can you tell us something that inspires you, something Jewish that inspires you, something that you learn that you keep in mind when you're having a difficult day or you're having
hmm.
a difficult week?
Something that inspires me, I have to think about that, because I know that we have it good. Nobody's sick in our family. we have like
Mm,
we have it good. So I'm trying to think of what inspires me. I don't know. I'll tell you what keeps me going. I like teaching people how to make a living, and this is what I do in my office. I take people who start with zero, and then they grow and grow and grow, and I have many success stories. So that's an inspiration for me to keep on. I like to do that. I'm doing what I like.
why do you like to do that so much? Why does that
Because if you
inspire you?
teach someone how to fish, then they could always fish for themselves. It's something.
Mhm,
Then there's another type of way of looking at things, and people who are just takers, and you keep on giving them, then they'll never do anything back, or won't do anything to help themselves. I really don't believe in it. So that's what. And when people, and by the way, I do get calls from people. Could you give this? And I'm talking. Some of these people are not working. Like, why don't you just go to work, do something? Now,
mhm,
our system in America is a little bit broken, because a lot of people are not motivated to work, because
mhm,
it almost doesn't pay for some people to work in the situation that they're in because of how the systems work. But that's something that's not that I but I know that if I have had a lot of people that I've worked with who had started with zero, who were on programs, are no longer on programs, own beautiful homes, are doing very well, because if there's a will, there's a way. You have to just do it. And I'm not, I'm a regular person. I was not an A plus student. I was a regular student. Okay.
mhm,
And I had to learn it. I didn't come to, this was not natural. Every single thing was learned, and everyone can learn it, unless you really don't know how to learn or can't figure out how to learn. Maybe it's not for them. But by the way,
mhm,
another thing is that people should do what they're good at. If
Mm,
someone is good at selling, then let them sell. But if someone's good in the office, they should be working in an office. Not everything is meant for everybody to be able to do. There are some people who are great, truck drivers. There people do. There are great plumbers. There are great electricians, and then there are electricians who are not good and plumbers who are not good. They have to learn their trade, and that's another thing. Whatever you're going to do, just do it right. Learn it, and be the best. And
mm,
then you'll be successful no matter what you want, whatever you're doing. It doesn't matter. This you everybody you hear, do you have a great painter? Yeah, I have a very good painter. Just but you have to some painters are not great. They have to learn
mm,
it. So
mm,
that's same thing with everything. I think you have to strive to be good. That's what inspires me. I always want to get better.
mm. Wow. And you stay so humble while you're doing it. How do you stay so humble? You're so successful in so many ways.
Well, if you get beat up a few times, then it humbles you.
What do you
Okay.
mean? What do you mean? What
What
like
and
what
everything. Rejection is actually good. When someone gets rejected, okay, there's different reactions, right? You've heard people, you've seen kids, right? They get rejected, they can cry, or they can go at, or it's. So if I look at it, okay, I got rejected. Okay, it wasn't meant for me. So that's very easy.
Mm,
Okay, but if I get rejected, I'm going to get angry at the person. No, I'm not getting angry. Why should I get upset? I don't care. I'm on to the next. I don't want to waste my time with, getting upset. So it's just, it's how I'm going to manage my time. If I don't want to spend my time being upset, there are people who spend their whole day with drama and
mm,
then they get nothing done.
mm.
So I don't want to have that. So just don't start. Yeah. So that's how it is. I don't, anyone who knows me will tell you that's how it is. You ask
Right.
them and they always tell them, just go on to the next, ignore it, next.
Don't let it bother you. Just go on.
Yes.
Move
That's
on.
it. That's the only way to do it.
How do you define success?
Oh, being happy with where you are, what you're doing, and the family, just being happy. I once asked someone who does very well, makes a lot of money, and they're always looking to get more, and they're always upset they didn't get this. I said, "Can I say how much money is enough money? How much money do
Mm,
you need?" So that's a question people should ask themselves. How much do you need? If you need more and more and more, you'll never be happy. But try to be happy with what you have or what you're doing. And if you're growing, why shouldn't you be happy?
hmm. So, it sounds like thanking and being grateful is a very big part of your life. You just when I asked you about challenges, you're like, "Well, everything was so good with me. I've had it so good, thank God." Yet you had some difficult times, and yet you're still so grateful. How
Every
do you
challenge is good. Every challenge is good. It's school. I have people tell me that whenever I have a challenge and something's not working my way, okay, this is school. I'm learning. Unfortunately, I had to learn on you, right? Now, I'm not saying I'm
Right,
just saying sometimes I
right,
have to learn on somebody, but it's all school.
right. So
So
that's how you look at, like, setbacks, and that's how you look at
yeah,
failures? It's just learning. It's just a matter of
yeah,
learning.
it's not a failure. It's just a step to that you don't make that mistake again, or you just get better at whatever you were doing.
Right, right.
So, and sometimes people
Beautiful.
have to go through certain hardships to get to where they are. And I'm telling you, if you talk to anybody, I think anyone who's been had any kind of success in whatever they're doing, and it does even a great teacher, a great anything, they all have something that happens. You
Hmm,
can't just be even great sailing, otherwise, then it wouldn't even be fun.
right. Hmm. If you have a message for a young Jewish girl who is looking to go into your field or go into any other field, what would you give her? What kind of message would you tell her to in terms of balancing that success?
If somebody wants to go into real estate, first of all, I speak to them. I would tell the person, first of all, I want to know if they're going to be living there or if their plan is to be here in 5 years, move out of town. Because if you're planning to do this and move out of town in 5 years, I wouldn't tell you to start here. It's too
Mm,
hard. It takes a long time to build up such a business. It does take time. So if they're planning to stay here and that's the plan, that's great. Um, they also should make sure that their personality is the right type of personality because if it's not, they're just going to set themselves up for a failure. It doesn't pay to start. So if they're the right fit and the right type of person to do it, I would tell them to go ahead and just do it and just start. It's real, and find a mentor, somebody who could be there for them to teach them, so you don't have to make all the mistakes that somebody would make. And big mistakes are where people spend money on advertising, may advertise in the wrong places, they may do the wrong things. You have to be able to know what to do. So if you have someone guiding you, that's very helpful. And by the way,
Mm,
most of our business doesn't come from advertising. It comes from people like you, people who recommend us to their friends. That's the
mm,
best advertising. And
mm,
just talking about that, my coach, my real estate coach said, Naomi, you have only 11 Google reviews. I'm like, really? I have no idea. Like, why should I be looking at Google reviews? He says,
mm.
you should have it. So he gave me a challenge that I need to do 400 Google reviews. I'm like, okay. So I just now put it on my WhatsApp status. Can you give me a review? So now I got a bunch of reviews. I think I have like 23 now. But if anyone wants to give me a review, whoever's listening, go to Naomi Streicher. I have to get
Good.
400. But anyway, that's what it is. You have to do things. That was another thing I didn't know, so I'm gonna do it.
So you
So
learned,
so
right?
maybe someone who's listening to this has a business, get Google reviews. I don't know why, but I was told you're supposed to have them.
Uh-huh. And give us now a final message of how we can do the many things that you do and be successful in the world, yet still keep God as so much a part of our day.
That I wish I had known that question before. That's a deep question. Okay. Well, we wake up in the morning, we thank God that we're alive and that we're breathing again, and we go on our day, and then we thank for the food that we're eating, and there's a lot of things to be thankful for. So I see God every day. I look outside my window, I see God. I mean, you got to just look at the views that we have. Look at every single thing that we have is all from God. So for me, we and everybody in the office knows we're all grateful for everything that we have. And if it's not, obviously we may need more things or want more things, but we can get it. It's attainable. So
Mhm,
we could get it. We're all same thing. We could just do it, work towards it, and it doesn't have to be get rich quick. It could be get rich slow, and that's the
mm.
way I know.
And how do you avoid how do you avoid thinking that it's your work that's done it rather than God who's helping you to do it? Like, how do you avoid that pitfall?
Well, I'm not always thinking in that kind of direction. I know that we have to put in the effort, but I know that we have help.
Mhm. You
My
mean it
mother
comes
always told
naturally?
me, yeah, my mother always told me God helps those who help themselves. You have to put in the effort. If you don't put in the effort, then it's not I don't know how much you're gonna it's not just gonna come. You have to put in the effort. It's a skill that you have to work on, and we have skills that we were born with and skills that we have to get. And yes, God is a big player in it because it makes it much easier to know that, if we didn't get it right this time, it's not 100% our fault. We put in the effort, so we're going to try again.
Absolutely. Naomi Streicher, thank you so much for joining us today. We appreciate your words of wisdom, and we wish you continued success in all that you do,
Well,
and
you are,
continued stucca charity for all those higher and higher levels that you can continue to give.
well,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
I invited Naomi Streicher to this podcast, which is a little different from some of the usual interviews that we do, because I felt she had such an important message to give in terms of just who she is. She doesn't say it, she just is it. What I really liked about the conversation was how she spoke about the humility with such humility. You can see this is a really successful woman who is, extremely successful in this entire area. And yet, the humility with which she goes about doing her things, the way she faces challenges, it's from God and just move on. If this was successful, great. Otherwise, it's a learning experience. And I feel like if some of us would just incorporate that attitude in our own perspective of our lives, how much richer we would be. Just move on. If it was not meant to be, so it was not meant to be. This too is from God. I love the idea of how she talks about charity and how she says, set aside an amount that you want to give to charity. Don't set aside an amount in your mind of how much you want to make, but set aside an amount of how much you want to give to charity and multiply that by the amount that you then need to earn. I thought that was such a great idea because it takes the whole idea of making money and bringing it into a whole holy sphere that money is for giving. And you can really see that in her work as well in terms of gratitude, how she feels that gratitude is such an important component. When I asked her about the challenges in her life, and she's had many, including losing a mother at the early age of 16, and yet she looks at her life as, what challenges? I don't have those challenges. I just feel so grateful for so many things in my life. And again, that's a perspective that we can really incorporate in our own. uh, I know I can definitely incorporate that in my own life. One last point that I also really enjoyed from the interview was the idea of mentors. Here, she's been doing this work for so many years and she's very successful at it, yet she's not satisfied. She always has a mentor, a coach to help her to improve, to get better at what she's doing. And I think that's so important for all of us if we can just incorporate that principle of trying, striving to be better in whatever area we are. Having a mentor in our lives is so important. If you enjoy watching these interviews, I hope you are subscribed to Chabad.org/extraordinary. You can find us as well on YouTube. Give us a like, send us some feedback, give us a 5-star rating. We really appreciate your ratings and your reviews, and we love hearing from you. Thank you so much for watching and for being part of this extraordinary community.